Hey everybody, today we're going to take an updated look at how old the US Senate is. We're going to do this by adding up the ages of both senators in each state and divide it by 2. So all these numbers you see here on the map are not the electoral votes. That is going to be the average age of the 2 senators. If necessary, we're going to have to round. And this data is going to be through June 30th of this year. And then at the end, we'll have a little bit of fun. We'll pretend these ages are actually electoral votes and we'll see who would have won the last election. So we're going to fill in this map. I've got 8 levels of shading here. So if you add up all 100 senators, we've got more than 3,200 years of experience across all 50 states. But to get the grand total, we'd actually have to multiply that number by 2. So that's about 6,400 years of experience going on in the U.S. Senate. First, let's talk about the state that has the lowest average age. And it's the same state when I did this video last year. It's going to be Georgia. John Ossoff, he's the youngest U.S. senator, combined with Raphael Warnock. Their average age is going to be 47. That's the lowest. Now, there's 3 other states that fall into the under age 50 category. Those states are going to be Missouri with Josh Hawley and Eric Schmidt, Indiana with Todd Young and Jim Banks, and New Jersey with Cory Booker and Andy Kim. So there's a lot of youth in those 4 states, but of course we want to see how high it goes. So I'm going to fill out the rest of the map, and as I do, I can go over a few fun facts. So everybody knows that all states get 2 senators, and based on their tenure and experience, there's the senior senator and the junior senator, and in many states, both senators are close to the same age, but there's 9 states where the gap between the junior and the senior senator is going to be over 20 years. That's a pretty big generational gap, but what are the states? Those are Alabama with Katie Britt and Tommy Tuberville, Arkansas with John Bozeman and Tom Cotton, Connecticut with Richard Blumenthal and Chris Murphy, Hawaii with Mazie Hirono and Brian Schatz, Illinois with Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth, Kentucky with Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul, Montana with Steve Daines and Tim Sheehy, and the state with the widest gap between the junior and the senior senator is going to be Iowa. The gap between Chuck Grassley, who's the oldest U.S. senator, and Joni Ernst is a whopping 37 years. So Grassley is still the oldest senator, Ossoff is still the youngest senator. There's been a lot of changeover since last year, but those 2 things haven't changed. But as we get more into the older states, let's go through these one at a time. For the age 75 to 79 group, we've got 3 states. Those states are going to be Massachusetts with Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey, Maine with Angus King and Susan Collins, and Idaho with Jim Risch and Mike Crapo. So a lot of life and experience with those states, but we've got 1 state that's even older than those 3. If you follow politics, you might know this one is not going to be too much of a surprise. It's the last state on here and the one with the oldest U.S. senators, and that is Vermont. This small, unassuming state in the Northeast is being represented by 2 old U.S. senators, Bernie Sanders and Peter Welch. Sanders is 83 and Welch will be 78 by June 30th. So once you round it, that's an average age of 81. So that is the oldest state, but neither of those 2 are as old as Chuck Grassley, who is 91 in Iowa. So that's it. That's the entire map. Most of the senators fall into the 65 to 69 category. Then it's going to be 70 to 74. So it looks like late 60s is right around the average age to be in the Senate. And this might cause a lot of people to say we've got to have term limits or age limits. Sometimes there are great younger U.S. senators, but there could also be something to be gained by having someone in their 70s or even 80s. I think it all comes down to who it is and what their policy positions are, not necessarily just their age. But I get it, on some of these older states, it's not going to be a great look when both of your senators are at least in their late 70s. Sometimes there's a small gap in their ages, sometimes there's a huge gap, like in Iowa. But the purpose of this video is not really to make a broader point. It's just to see how old everybody is and in what states. So things are bound to change. Somebody could resign, somebody could die in office. But this is where things are going to be at as of mid-2025. Now, with that said, let's have a little bit of fun with these numbers. So here we've got the 2024 presidential map filled out, but again, it's not the usual electoral votes. These are the same average U.S. senators' ages, but the map is shaded according to if Trump or Harris won each state. So this is where it pays to be older. However, that's still not quite enough. Trump or the Republicans win it with 1938 to the Democrats or Harris getting 1272. Now, given Trump won so many of the swing states this time, that gave him a huge advantage. Last year when I did this for 2020, it was very, very close. But sometimes it's good to take a step back, have a little bit of fun with the information and the data. And again, we've got over 6,400 years of experience between all 100 senators. You might think that's a good thing, you might think that's a bad thing, you might not have any opinion at all. As for me, I'll reiterate that I think it comes down to the individual person and what their policy positions are. But if you're looking for a little bit of excitement, maybe this is it. So I wonder which state is next going to make a big change in terms of their combined ages of their U.S. senators. Chuck Grassley is pretty old in Iowa. That's a strong possibility, but also Welch and Sanders in Vermont. Both of them are likely near the end of their careers, although Sanders was just reelected in 24. And these numbers don't necessarily just keep going down. Sometimes you get a new senator in there that's 10 or 20 years older than their other senator, and that's going to really raise the average. But anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there for now. Hopefully you got just a little bit of information out of this. So let me know in the comments. Do you think the Senate is too old, or does it not really matter? And which states are you surprised have older senators or younger senators? Do you think there should be age limits? And how old are the senators in your state? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.